I'm an accidental entrepreneur, that's what I call myself. I used to be a French teacher, then became a food blogger, and then turned into an accidental entrepreneur. Tried to create that banana jam specifically. Friends and family started asking for bottles, and that's when I felt that what I'm doing is very unique. It doesn't exist in India.
One big mistake.
One big mistake was not focusing on the bottom line and not making sure that we were sustainable. The Oberoi Gurgaon chef was looking for an Indian manufacturer of jams. We got the contract for the Oberoi Group of hotels.
That's a very big validation.
But that kind of made me realize that okay, maybe there's something here. We got so many returns. People have thought that we were selling like bharta in a jar. I think the next big opportunities in functional foods. I think just believe in yourself. People will doubt you, question you, put you down again and again. But if you believe in yourself, then that's the only way you keep on going.
So, hi Apeksha.
Hi.
Such a pleasure to see you here. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start by knowing a little bit more about you and what's your story.
So my story is I'm an accidental entrepreneur. That's what I call myself.
Okay.
I used to be a French teacher and then became a food blogger. I actually didn't want a corporate job when I was in college. I studied economics, and while everybody was studying for an MBA, I was like, okay, I don't want to do the typical 9 to 5 corporate job. And I didn't realize that later I'll be signing up for a 24/7 job instead. So I love languages, I love cooking. So became a French teacher, then food blogger, and then just destiny just led me down this path, and I turned into an accidental entrepreneur.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I was reading on your website in About You section that you went to France and that's where you discovered culinary arts and you got deeply into it. So,
I mean, not culinary art as such, but yeah, I was living in France in 2009, around 2008 to 2009. And over there, of course, one is had access to a lot of beautiful ingredients, and I was on a
Yes.
dependent visa, so had all the time to experiment, and that's where I started a food blog, in fact.
Okay.
And it so happened that, we went on a holiday to Burgundy and stayed at a small bed and breakfast where we tasted a fresh banana jam. And it was unlike anything that, we had grown up eating in India, right?
Okay.
One, it was banana flavor, which was very unusual. Second, it was completely natural, freshly made, artisanal, no chemicals, no preservatives. And then, moved back to India and tried to recreate that banana jam specifically. And a little bit of Googling, experimenting in the kitchen. And since I was a good cook, I thought, how hard can it be to make a jam,
Okay.
And so I made a batch, added some rum to it, and that was our first product, the banana rum jam. And eventually started making more flavors and, stopped buying from the market, and slowly friends and family started asking for bottles. And that's when I felt that what I'm doing is very unique. It doesn't exist in India. This was back in 2012. And there was this gap in the market that I saw, and that's why I started the Gourmet Jar just as a home business, and from my home kitchen for 3 years.
Okay, interesting. So, this started in 2012 in your home kitchen
Yeah.
in Gurgaon.
In Gurgaon, yes.
And how was the response? You started giving it to people, friends?
Yeah, so
around you?
people
Everybody
loved
started asking for more. And
people loved the flavors because I was doing very unique products. So my first few products were the banana rum jam. We were doing a mango jalapeno preserve. We had an orange whiskey marmalade. So the flavors were very innovative, and of course the taste was very different from what people were used to. And because I was in the blogging scene at that time, so the word spread very quickly and
Okay.
got a lot of PR and mentions and lots of that time it was all about magazines and newspapers.
Okay.
So then that's how the word spread.
So, in 2012, there wasn't so much hype around this gourmet and clean ingredients and artisanal stuff
Yeah.
like that. So, what did you do to create a carve a niche for yourself? What really happened back then?
So nobody really understood gourmet, natural clean label products at that point in time. At that point, I think gourmet was associated with imported products,
Yeah.
not with something made in India. You
Yes.
know. And what we did differently, I mean, we did a lot of sampling. So a lot of farmers markets, a lot of those food fairs and events and those weekly markets, etc.
Okay.
Where people tasted the products, and when they tasted it, they realized that it's very different from what they were used to. And at that point, I think people were not buying it because it was clean label or because it was healthier, but because of the taste, because it was something different, and it was like, okay, yeah, let's have this, and it's very interesting. So
Okay.
sampling was the main driver for sales at that point in time.
Okay.
And I think eventually, of course, things have changed a lot in the last decade, and now people buy food because they're clean label and because they're better for them.
So, gourmet, which was not really associated with Indian stuff earlier, do you think we have in India achieved that stage where people consider, okay, Indian brands can also be gourmet?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, now in every category in F&B or even in beauty or personal care, we have, products which are world class, I would say, and
Okay.
like we can really stand on the same shelf with imported products, sometimes even be better than them. And I think now, of course, there are many Indian founders who have created really good brands which
Yeah.
are as good as the international counterparts. So now people accept it, and also there's a lot of the whole vocal for local thing in the last
Yeah.
5-6 years, right? So
Yes.
people now proudly use Indian brands. Earlier they
I
used
think,
to.
yeah, vocal for local has always been there, at least since this new government came in power.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think I would say that post-COVID, the quality of products that you see in market, especially in D2C,
Yeah,
that's totally transformed.
of course. Yeah.
I think with the new wave of founders who have come,
Exactly.
they truly understand what global quality means, and probably uh, there is acceptance also. Earlier there was no acceptance as well,
True,
right?
true. No, that's what things have changed a lot. I think a lot of founders have been outside India, lived abroad, and then moved over here, and
Yeah.
then they've tried to recreate that quality over here. And the entrepreneurship wave has kind of come in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So a lot of things have come together for this to happen.
So tell me, the Gourmet Jar, the company, what is the situation right now with your company? How big is it? Are you scaling?
So we are producing about 20 tons a month right now.
Okay.
And we have a very manual setup, and now we're looking to automate it to take it to the next level. And in terms of, we have a team of about 45, which includes our in-house manufacturing staff as well.
Okay.
And we are available across India on all the quick commerce, e-commerce, as well as most of the modern trade stores, and offline stores as well.
Okay.
So we have a very good presence and a distribution network, and as well as, we're selling on all channels. We're also available in a lot of restaurants and hotels where we supply as well.
Okay. And how does your cap table look like?
Cap table, I'm still a majority shareholder.
Okay.
So of course I have family and friends who've invested, and I also have like my angel investors on
Okay.
the cap table at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you see this growing now? Are you seeking investment? Are you looking at VCs, funding which can take you to the next level?
So I think at the moment we are at a good place where we are growing fast, and we are also profitable and sustainable. However, of course, more capital would mean faster growth, and definitely looking to scale this much faster. So for that, two ways of getting capital, either through investment or through debt, low interest debt or limit, etc.
Yeah.
And I'm open to both at the moment. And
Okay.
if I do find an investor who the vision aligns wherever,
Okay.
because I do not want to scale this at the cost of profitability, and don't want to burn and grow. So that's the thesis. So if I find somebody who is the right partner, then definitely I'm happy to have a more a partner that's involved and an investor that can help me take this to the next level. Yeah.
Very interesting. You started way back when startup was not even a word, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think has changed in the ecosystem back then when you started and now? What do you
I
feel?
think a lot. Like it's in the last decade, there's a world of a difference. I feel, one, for example, when I started, there was no ecosystem really, and
Yeah.
everything it took a lot more time to learn everything, right?
Yeah.
There was no Instagram when I started. Amazon also was just kind of coming into India. I think.
Discovery itself was very difficult.
Discovery itself was very difficult. You had the traditional channels like offline retail, right? So social media was not such a big thing.
Yeah.
Plus, even setting up your production, finding the right suppliers, the supply chain, that was very difficult. Like it was all very manual. I remember going to Chandni Chowk and standing for hours, going to Sadar Bazaar, and figuring out how to, like, my suppliers for different packing materials, different ingredients. Now everything is online, right? And plus,
It's much more organized.
it's
right?
much more organized. The ecosystem is much better. There are so many D2C groups, WhatsApp groups. There are accelerators. Access to information is much easier.
Yeah.
So if you really want to do something, the information is out there, and you can
Yeah.
reach out to people also who can mentor you. At that point, like there was hardly anybody who I could connect with, or who I could
Yeah.
ask. Okay, this if I had doubts or questions, who do I turn to really? So I had to
Yeah.
figure everything out on my own, literally,
Yeah.
with making mistakes and learning. So the learning curve was much longer at that point. Now, because of technology, I think it's just become much easier.
Much
Plus,
better.
distribution is easier, right?
Yeah.
Earlier, it was offline stores, and you would go from one city to another, and like expand the retail distribution. Now, with quick commerce, it's much easier to scale across the country and even internationally, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think demand side as well as supply side,
Yeah,
both
yeah.
have
Both have changed.
transformed dramatically.
Dramatically,
Right?
yes.
How have you changed as a person
I
over
think
all these 13, 14 years?
I think
Are
I
you
also
like a
changed.
much more mature seasoned businesswoman?
Definitely, I think I also changed dramatically, because I don't recognize the person I was like
Okay.
when I started off. I think I was very
Interesting.
naive,
Yeah.
did not really have ambition. I didn't even imagine, where this could take me or
Okay.
the journey that I would be on, And I think, yeah, in terms of confidence, knowledge, like now I think I call myself a leader. I am a leader, and I feel like I'm a successful leader at the moment. Have learned a lot during this journey, right? Lots of failures, lots of setbacks, how to overcome them. I think built a lot of resilience, which like I didn't really know at that point in time, right? So I think it's for me as a person, I've grown tremendously over the last 10 years. Learned how to deal with government employees, learned how to deal with suppliers, how to even manage people, right? Set up a team, nurture them, grow them, a lot of things in every aspect of life, I would say.
So I was watching some content that you've created and stuff that is available online, and I was noting that Horeca used to be a very big piece of your business pre-COVID,
Pre-COVID,
right?
yeah.
And what happened in COVID? How did you, balance the setback that you had? So there was a massive setback, right?
Of course, yeah,
Horeca
yeah.
totally collapsed, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
how did you pivot?
So before COVID, 30% of our business was Horeca, which was essentially the small mini jars that were kept on breakfast tables, and we used to supply to like 30, 35 five-star hotels across the country.
Okay.
So that was a significant part of the business. And of course, COVID happened, that kind of went away overnight, right?
Yeah.
So for 1 year, that business literally vanished.
Okay.
And luckily for us, what we lost in Horeca sales, we made up for in online sales, because pre-COVID, my online business was just about 3%. Like
Okay.
our Shopify existed, our Amazon existed, but we didn't really focus on selling there, because our sales were mostly on offline retail at that point. We were very strong in offline retail. So because of having the infrastructure, we were able to quickly pivot and focus on our online channels. And I think Amazon and Shopify and other e-commerce platforms really helped us at that point in time. And plus with COVID, what happened is that people were sitting at home and they could not go out to restaurants and cafes, and they wanted to cook restaurant style food at home. So every time a COVID wave would happen, our sales would spike up, So and of course we never had a single day of work from home, or we were not shut for any a single day.
Yeah.
So the sales were actually going up for us during COVID.
A lot of people discovered your brand, right?
Yes, and plus we also launched pasta and pizza sauces during COVID. In fact, we launched in April 2020, which was coincidental, and that category really took off for us, and that's like contributing a large majority of our sales, and that really grew fast after COVID.
Because everybody was a home chef.
Everybody was a home chef, and people couldn't eat pasta outside, so they wanted to make it at home.
Yeah.
So that really helped us a lot.
Okay. Now tell me, in that kitchen when you were adding rum to your banana and trying to do something. When was that moment which came when you said that this can be scaled, and I can make a big company out of it?
So for me, actually, that moment happened. So I was doing this as a home business, like I said, for 3 years, and in the third year, somebody, so the Oberoi Gurgaon chef was looking for an Indian manufacturer of jams, because they used to use a British brand at that point. And he was like, okay, I want a local manufacturer, and someone happened to recommend my name to him.
Okay.
And then he called me for a meeting, and then I, did some trials for them. That's how the small mini jars came about in a way.
Okay.
So they were looking for somebody to do the jams and honey, etc. over here. And it was a year of back and forth and trials and meetings and negotiations, etc. But finally, we got the contract for the Oberoi group of hotels.
Okay.
And for me, with the 3-year-old business, that too home business, and with really no experience, we were just selling direct to consumer that time. To get that contract was like a big, I couldn't even believe it that it's happened, really. Of course, we had to move out of home and set up a kitchen and, get our licenses, etc. But that kind of made me realize that, okay, maybe there's something here. If a group like Oberoi can want to use these products.
That's a very big validation, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So that I think was a turning point.
And Oberoi is, because I am from hotel background, so I know Oberois are very, very particular.
They are very particular about the standard and quality, yes.
They don't compromise. They're one of the finest.
Right.
And anything which is on the Oberoi table or shelf is cream de la cream, right?
Exactly. And that really helped us a lot, because after Oberoi we got a lot more hotels, and then of course the brand was seen on hotel tables everywhere, which really gave a lot of validation and visibility to the brand, and that helped push the retail sales as well.
So this transition is very interesting for me. When you were in your home kitchen trying to do small batches, taking care of people around you who are calling, and through WhatsApp trying to maybe take care of
Yeah,
things, right?
yeah.
And then from there to Oberoi, like that's a huge transition, right?
Hmm.
But while it would have given you a lot of happiness, it would have also come with a lot of sudden pain, right?
Yeah, a lot of challenges.
A lot of
Yeah,
challenges. अब कैसे
yeah,
करें इसको?
yeah, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that phase. How did you manage that? Your team ठीक करनी पड़ेगी, back end ठीक करना पड़ेगा. You have to shift to a bigger place.
Yeah, yeah.
And the processes have to be really refined, so you are able to create big batch
Exactly.
in a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
consistent way without damaging your name that you built, right? So
Yeah,
how
yeah.
did you do that?
So I think
That's a make or break point for many companies.
definitely, yeah. So
Right?
there was a lot of learning. So like I said, after that is when I actually moved out of home and set up a unit and got my license and hired people to help me out. Second, of course, making a 2 kilo, 5 kilo batch at home versus making a 50 kilo batch
Yes.
commercially,
Very
huge
different.
difference, right? So things did go wrong. I would
Yes.
realize strawberry jam is becoming brown. And then I had to kind of learn, I would say, because I had to hire a food technologist and learn the science of food,
Okay.
really. So then I understood that, okay, because if you're cooking bigger batches for too long, then the sugar is caramelizing and turning brown, etc. So I think I had to learn a lot on the food technology part, and obviously have the right people to help me understand that, and then fix the processes accordingly so that we could achieve the same finished product that I was making at
Yeah.
home in a 3-5 kg batch, on a larger scale, right? So all those things had to be kind of learnt and then of course the facility, setting it up as per their standard because they would want to audit it, etc. So that was also a big learning. So with a lot of, I would say, trial and error, we finally managed it, and I would say that we were lucky that they were very patient and they let us do that.
So they let you do all those mistakes
Those trials and
come
errors
to that
and
sweet point, right?
yeah, we did do many trials and many batches
Okay.
until we kind of achieved what they wanted.
Okay. So after Oberoi's, then what happened?
So after Oberoi's, other hotels happened, and at the same time, I think 2016 we raised the seed round of funding, which also happened accidentally.
Okay.
And then we got into retail in 2017. So offline retail, that's when we it really took off, because we got into chains like Food Hall and Nature's Basket and Modern Bazaar and Le Marché and all of those. So we were available in a lot of stores within the next year or two. So by 2017, 2018, we were available in most of the premium MT in India.
Okay.
So that helped cement the brand's positioning a lot, because when people saw it in hotels and they saw the brand in stores, year after year, and of course we did a lot of sampling as well in those stores as well. So Modern
Okay,
Bazaar and Nature's Basket, we had like promoters standing with the trays and tasting our product.
And this is 2018.
17 to 18 to
And
19,
Instagram
I would
has
say.
not yet happened.
Not in a big way, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was there, but it was a very, very small
It
part.
was not for business back then.
Not for
it was
business.
only for people's
Correct.
picture sharing
Yeah,
here
yeah,
and there.
yeah.
Now it's driving businesses.
Of course, yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
All the D2C brands are riding that Instagram
Right.
wave.
Yeah. So that's why offline sales was the kind of way to go at that point in time. So we did build the business in offline retail a lot, and we were very strong for a very young brand. And at that time, offline retail was very difficult to crack. Even today, it is.
Yeah, it is.
But
It's always been difficult
It's
to
always
crack.
been very difficult, But we were able to find the right partners, and I think slowly just learn and grow from there. So offline retail really helped cement the business and the brand. And people kind of tasted our products and started trusting it and buying it repeatedly. And then of course the hotels were happening, and then we added more, like I said, in 2020 we added savory categories. That is what really helped the business take off, because also realized around 2017-18 that jams are a small market in India. People don't have sweet breakfast, so it's not part of their daily lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
So it was a limited market in a way, so the growth was not going to be as fast. So that's when I focused on adding savory products. So initially we added like mustard and a couple of dips, and then pasta pizza sauce in 2020, and eventually a lot more. Yeah.
So currently, how does the split look like between online, offline, quick commerce, your own website? How is it?
So now, of course, like quick commerce is, things have completely reversed.
Yeah.
So pre-COVID, our 60% business was offline retail. Now, of course, like 60 plus is like quick commerce, right?
60 is quick commerce.
For us, yes.
And what about Amazon and your own website?
10% is like e-commerce, you can say, and then 60% is quick commerce, and then thoda baki retail and
balance 30 is retail.
Not 30, it was like majority I would say is retail, 20%, and then we do a lot of gifting and Horeca and stuff like that.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
Institutional and stuff like
Institutional, and then a little bit of gifting around Diwali as well. So
that. Yeah. But the pie itself would have gotten much bigger than it was.
Of course, yeah.
So in absolute terms, the amount would have not gone down, or the number of stores.
No, amount has of course increased
gone up only.
multifold, right?
Yeah,
But
correct. So you still working with Oberoi's and all these hotels,
We do. We still work with a lot of hotels.
but your
you know.
attention is kind of shifted more towards online and
So retail, I mean, we
quick.
still work with all the hotels, but of course, after COVID, what happened is we stopped doing the small jars, the mini jars, because we also realized that in that 1 year, our gross margin improved a lot because those
Okay.
mini jars were very, they're good for visibility and branding, but they did not really help contribute to the bottom line. So in that 1 year, we kind of realized it's a very low margin business, and we stopped doing the mini jars, but we still work with a lot of the hotels for their gift hampers for Diwali, and we do supply to some of the kitchens as well.
Okay. So can you tell me broadly how's the categorization done right now in the Gourmet Jar? What all are the different categories and how many SKUs products that you have?
So we have about 30 products right now.
Okay.
And in that, I would say majority, 60% are savory. Actually, 60 to 70% are savory products. And then we have, so we jams and preserves is one category where we have 8 SKUs. Then we have pasta and pizza sauces where we have like I think another 6-7 products.
Okay.
And then we have a couple of salad dressings. We have dips and spreads where we have salsa, we have mustard, we have like all of the panat pesto stuff like that, and then a little bit of honey as well. Yeah.
Okay. But you've been very sharply focused on the condiment segment only.
Yeah. Yeah.
It did not cross your mind that now I'm growing, people recognize my brand, I can probably expand and do something which is, more into edible stuff.
So I think we are like a sausage and spreads brand, and I don't want I feel that you cannot be everything to everybody. Like you have to really choose your strength.
Yeah.
And one, snacking and ready to eat and all is a very big industry. It's a very competitive industry. You need like a lot of money to really fight and make space over there.
Yeah.
Secondly, I feel our strength is sausage and spreads, and what we are aiming to do is that we are enabling the home cook in a way, right? Today's consumer is busy; they don't have time to cook everything from scratch.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And so that's what we are aiming to be.
It's a good positioning to have. You're enabling home cooks to create outstanding products.
To cook better, faster, easier at home, and like, just giving them a solution which helps them put together a meal which is still made by them, and it's not ordered on Swiggy, Zomato, and at the same time they know that it's guilt free. They don't have to. It's as close to homemade in taste, and it helps them save time as well, right? Because who has the time to make every sauce and spread from scratch every day?
Impossible,
right?
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So if I were to order your product, where can I get it? I can get it on Blinkit and Zeptos.
So everywhere, yeah, whichever platform you use. So Blinkit, Zepto, Swiggy, Big Basket, First Club, Amazon
everywhere.
Yeah.
And in terms of retail, if I want to find you, where would I find you?
Retail, you would find us in stores in modern trade stores like your Nature's Basket and
La Marche
and La Marche and Modern Bazaar, and also some bakeries like Theo's and Defense Bakery.
Achha, you're there on Theo's?
Yeah, we've been selling at Theo's also for a long time. Yeah.
Interesting. But you've been focused largely in this area. Which all areas are you present?
No, we are present pan India. So
You're
we're there.
present
Yeah, we're there in the with quick commerce, we're there in about 30 cities in India.
Okay.
But majorly through retail, we're in the top 10 cities, across India.
Okay. अच्छा, अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं कि इस सेगमेंट में और भी ब्रांड्स हैं, what is your core USP? Why should somebody buy your brand vis-a-vis so many other brands which are there?
So I think the first point would be that we taste the best. I would say, people buy a food brand and come back to food because it tastes good, right?
Yeah.
Taste matters at the end. That's the first thing that matters when it comes to food. So I think the taste is the first thing, that we have a very good balance of flavors. Second is, of course, that we are clean label, kitchen ingredients only, nothing a consumer doesn't understand. Third is that we have a good shelf life, even though we are a natural and preservative-free brand. So which helps us be available across different channels across the country with the ambient temperature shelf life.
Okay.
And of course, I think the last thing is that people they'll be able to make a meal which is healthy, which is easy to make, and which is very quick to make at home.
Now, going back to your core positioning, where you say that we are a clean label and chemical free and preservative free, how do you balance the temptation to create products that have sharper, better shelf life so it can stay more? That way is, when the longevity is more, you'll be able to sell bigger numbers, right? Scale it faster.
Yeah.
How do you balance that? Do you get this temptation? Can you preservative say, thoda shelf life badhaye and then you reach more and all that?
So I mean, the thing is, the philosophy of the brand has from day one been preservative free and real ingredients only. And that still stands. So we don't compromise over there. And we have a decent shelf life. We have a 12 to 18 months shelf life without any preservatives on most of our products. And I think now we have enough packaging technology that you don't really need to add chemicals and preservatives. Like not everything needs preservatives, right? Like some of them, like jams, mustard, salad dressing, they have natural preservatives, just like pickles. So there's salt, sugar, vinegar, all of that, which helps oil. It all helps preserve the products naturally. So we don't have any temptation. In fact, for me, the reverse is probably applicable. That I get tempted to make products which are cold chain, which don't have a long shelf life, But then I have to stop myself from going down that road, because that's a short shelf life refrigerated product. This is a very different ball game. And in fact, out of our 30 products, we have only one cold chain product, which is our basil pesto. And that has a 6-week shelf life, and unfortunately that's because of the cold chain, we are not able to scale it outside Delhi NCR. We are still only shipping it in Delhi NCR, and it's in fact one of our highest repeat products, because people who like our pesto, they love our pesto. Like if you try the basil pesto, like I would say, when you have one of the best basil pestos out there. And there's a lot of people in Bombay, Bangalore, other cities who keep asking us for it, but we're not able to ship it. So I have to stop myself from launching products which are cold chain and short shelf life, because that is a very different ball game, to manage the supply chain.
Great. Now, tell me one anecdote where, in these 12 years, some customer came to you and mentioned something and said something, and you felt कि मैंने कुछ तो बनाया है. I have created something which people are loving.
I would say, there's quite a few of them, but one really sticks out is during COVID, we had one customer reach out to us, and they really wanted the basil pesto. And they had a patient at home who had COVID, and the patient really liked basil pesto. And they were like, we have a COVID patient at home, but we really want your pesto. And they were like, they coordinated with them. They were like, can you keep it at the doorstep and leave it here? And so that really touched me, because I was like, if somebody who's unwell, and I think food brings joy and happiness. So if you have your favorite food, that was really something that touched me. And then another incident was, somebody reached out to me when this was early on. They had, I think, a 4-year-old nephew or niece, or somebody in the family who was 4-year-old, who loved the marmalade, which was very funny, because marmalade is slightly bitter, and it's like for a kid or like child of 4 years to like it. And they wanted me to do a special packaging for their gifting. So then I created like a wrapping paper of sorts with the Paddington bear on it, and just for them to gift it to their to that child. So that was another incident which really made me feel like, okay, that it's really adding joy to people's life, and there's some impact, there.
Acha, I have a question regarding this SKU list that you mentioned, 30 plus products that you have. Now, people's palate and tastes evolve, right? And so is, if you see the F&B market, and in this, case, condiments market, it continues to evolve, right? Yeah. So how do you keep track of what is working? What are the products that we now need to stop and, bring new products? How do you manage all that?
So I think now that we've been there for a while, so we have enough data, and we do look at the data. In fact, we had 36 products until last year. We did cull out the bottom 6. It's a tough decision, but at the end of the day, if a product is not contributing a decent amount to the revenue, it does not make sense, and plus also we have to keep evolving, like you said, and adding new products as well. So generally we look at data, at the end of the financial year, and see what are the bottom selling products, and then try to kind of phase them out. And whenever we have a new launch kind of plan, so I think we launch products every alternate year, new products every alternate year. Then we typically get rid of the lowest selling ones.
And do you also monitor trends on what is happening in this gourmet world across the globe, and what is it that you need to launch?
Right? So in fact, our pasta sauce came from a report and an insight that we saw on the pasta market, in fact. So I think back in 2019 I read some report which talked about pasta growing at a 35% CAGR in India, and that's what has happened in the last 5 years. Pasta has grown tremendously. So the insight was that pasta is growing at 35%. So we thought that, okay, if pasta is growing, then people need sauces as well to go with that, right? And that was the entire reason why we launched pasta sauces. So definitely looking at trends. And now, for example, the spreads market, everything is mayo based, and mayo is getting a bad reputation. We're trying to see if we can make something which is a healthier version of that. And although it's very difficult to crack a healthy mayo which is natural and preservative free and shelf stable. But that's something that we want to do in the future, hopefully. So yeah, so and I do keep looking when I travel, internationally, and what's happening in the world, and trying to
You travel
see.
across the globe and
Yeah,
try and
I do love to travel.
taste
So
yourself what is happening and
every
what
time
is
I
it
travel, my first thing is I go to grocery stores, I go to farmers markets.
okay, just to
I
see
love
what kind of products
experimenting,
are
and yeah,
on the top shelves, right?
yeah.
Apeksha, I have a question which has been playing in my mind. I'm very curious to ask. There is the Gourmet Jar, and there are many brands like that which have given massive dent to big brands. Now, where are these big guys like Heinz and Kisan and all the big names, the brands that actually always ruled the roost, right? Before the new ones came, right? Where are those guys? Why are they not innovating? What do you think about it?
I think for the big guys, for the legacy brands, innovation comes at a very high cost. Because of their systems and processes. For them, an R&D or launching a new product is a big exercise, and also they have to do a lot more research and studies and etc. before really having the conviction to launch something.
But prima facie, one would always think that they would have much larger budgets to do all these
Of course,
research and
yeah.
where they would lack probably is the agility.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yeah. So I think younger brands are like us. We are very nimble, and we can quickly do some R&D, launch something
Yeah.
just on our website or just on Amazon.
And not worried to fail.
Yeah, exactly, and not
They're
worried
very
to fail.
worried to
And
fail.
yeah. Because for them, if they launch something, it has to be everywhere, right? For us, like when we launch our product, it's just on our website and Amazon, and we quickly test it and see if people are actually buying it, and what's the repeat, and then connect with them, and then we are able to kind of decide very quickly whether it's working or not. Versus big brand. And I think, but eventually, yes, all these legacy companies have to realize that the market has changed, the consumer has evolved, their needs are different now, and they cannot, they cannot be fooled anymore with a product which is full of preservatives and chemicals and front pe kuch aur hai, back pe kuch aur hai,
Yeah.
right? So that awareness is there now. So I think they will have to adapt eventually and give the consumer something which is honest and transparent.
So as a consumer and as a digital marketer, I've been watching this post-COVID. It's happened very rapidly across
Yeah.
all categories, right? If you talk about personal care, if you talk about food, all these categories, all these legacy brands are being left behind, far
Yeah,
behind, right?
yeah.
The new ones are running and winning the race everywhere, right? So I hope they all wake up and
Yeah, I mean,
everybody
either they'll
tries
have to adapt or they will have to acquire younger brands, newer brands, I guess.
You
to kind
got
of,
any offer to get acquired? by
we
these
have,
big guys?
yeah, not a
Okay.
very big guy, but we have, yeah.
Okay, so what did you do?
We were too young and too, I think the business was too small at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you get an offer today from a big brand, what would you do?
Today, probably, I mean, I'll probably discuss and explore it, but I'm not sure if I'll do that right now. I think we still have a long way to go before, going down that path.
What's your vision? Where are you looking at?
My vision
next
is to,
5 years.
like in 5 years, to be one of the leading gourmet, not just gourmet, but a leading sauce and spread brand in India.
Okay.
And also be exporting and be part of the international market as well.
So what are the gold standards in this industry which you're talking about? What are the big guys, really big guys who have the market share and you're eyeing them and you want to dent them?
Right now I would say, of course, there are commercial mass products, but in the categories where we are, I would say it's mostly occupied by imported brands, right?
Okay.
So I would love to displace them and
Okay.
be the leader over there. Yeah.
Okay.
So like in the pasta sauce category, for example, Ragu or Barilla are in
Yeah.
every shelf in every retail store across India, right?
Okay.
So that would be great to kind of displace them.
अच्छा इस इंडस्ट्री में let's not talk only about India, let's talk about the global brands. Which are the global brands that you admire and you say that these guys are really very superior?
I mean, I would say there are many global brands, right, which are doing a very good job and which have really changed the industry. I mean, in the US, the gazillion brands which have really changed the way things are consumed, the consumer's mindset as well. Like recently, Graza olive oil. It's like a olive oil brand which has completely revolutionized the market, not by doing anything with the olive oil, but the packaging, right? They've come up with these squeezy bottles which are very fun to use and easy to use, etc. versus the traditional glass jars, and that's completely changing the way people use olive oil at home in the US, right? And then there was Sir Kensington, which did all this healthy mayo, essentially, which is vegan mayo made with chickpea water, and so yeah, they completely changed the mayo market in the US. So there are lots of brands I think doing really different things, across the world.
Okay, and that's an interesting word you picked, vegan. Do you also have vegan products?
So most of our products are vegan.
Okay.
So by default, we are like vegan, gluten-free,
Okay.
and vegetarian. Like we have honey in some of our products, but we don't use any gluten in any of our products. And at the same time, yeah, we don't use any dairy. We don't use anything non-veg in any which way. So most of our products are by default vegan and gluten-free.
Great, interesting. So there are, when you launch a product, there are success stories, and then there are failure stories, and then there are colossal failure stories, right? So I
Yeah.
heard that there's something called smoked aubergine
Yeah.
relish.
Yeah.
What's the story?
So I get inspired from my travels a lot. So I'd gone to Italy and had this dish called a caponata, which is essentially an aubergine, like a brinjal ka dish. And I really loved the flavors of that, and I wanted to recreate that and put it in a bottle. So I created this smoked aubergine relish, which I personally loved a lot. But and we launched it and put it out in retail, etc. Of course, I was very young at that time as an entrepreneur and did not realize the steps that I should go through. But we got so many returns of that, right?
Is it? Why?
Because we were mostly in offline. This was I think 2018 or so. So
People didn't like the taste?
no, they didn't want to try it, right? Because the thing is that in India, if you say bangan, what's the next word?
Bharta.
Bharta, right? So the association of bangan with bharta is so strong that the moment people see aubergine or brinjal or bangan, it's bharta. So people have thought that we are selling like bharta in a jar. You know?
People just can't imagine anything.
They can't
beyond.
imagine anything beyond bangan bharta when it comes to bangan, right? That's why nobody even tried it. It was just like on the shelf and everything just came back to us. So I think that was one of the biggest flops in our journey.
God. So bangan for its entire lifeline would have to live like that?
I don't know, in India maybe.
Okay. So out of the SKU list that you have, which is the number one selling product?
Bestseller is the basil pasta sauce right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's like the ultimate favorite?
Yeah, I think everybody loves pasta, and our basil pasta sauce is, it makes cooking pasta at home much easier.
Great. Now going back to your initial days when you were building this company, the startup, tell me about that one big mistake that you did and you said, this could have killed my company, but somehow you recovered.
I think big mistakes, it wasn't like one decision as such, but I think not focusing on profitability and sustainability was one thing, because we had very many hard years where did not really understand that numbers are the backbone of the business. And ultimately,
you're too passionate and driven with the food and consumer holding it and
exactly. So I think the one big mistake was not focusing on the bottom line and not making sure that we were sustainable, because it's like, okay, you don't have money in the bank to pay next salaries, फिर loan ले लिया, फिर कभी family friends से borrow कर लिया, कभी अपने पैसे लगा दिए, and then just going on surviving like that, right? But that wasn't the sustainable way. So there was a point where we had a lot of debt from family, friends, and BFCs, etc. And then also, we were not profitable and we were burning money. So at the end of the day, I think the biggest mistake was that, and I think eventually we fixed it. And for me, the biggest learning was that you have to survive, you have to keep, being profitable and being sustainable and making sure your cash flow is good is the key, essentially, in running a business for a long time.
This happened because you declined to do an MBA and declined to understand the finance?
Maybe.
Okay, focused on language and taste, right?
Yeah.
Great. Now, food continues to be one of the toughest categories operationally, isn't it? There are shelf life challenges, sourcing, consistency, packaging. Now, out of all this, which part is the hardest?
I think in India, logistics is the hardest, because we were able to figure everything else out. But logistics is something which is not in your control. You can figure out the recipe, packaging, shelf life, all of that is in your control.
But logistics is much better today, right? Earlier, jitna problem tha,
yeah, it's better.
Now you have delivery and so many other startups purely in the field of
true.
logistics.
But
so
even then,
has it not helped?
It does not really, because one is the people who are handling your packages, they just don't care. They just throw them, left, right, center, right? If you see some of the videos of them throwing the packages, it's like your heart just breaks, right? And especially because we do glass jars. So one is like that way, and then second thing is, there's just if a consumer receives a broken bottle, they will not understand that. They will blame the brand or they'll give a 1-star review for that, right?
Yeah.
But they don't understand that it's the logistics company which is mishandling the product, or because of,
Yeah.
or if their package gets lost, or if it gets delayed, right? Everything comes on the brand, and you have to bear the
Precisely,
brunt
yeah.
of it. But it's not like once the package leaves your doorstep and it's on in transit to the consumer's doorstep, like there's no control that you have, and the support is not really that. I mean, you keep following up, and okay, you don't know, okay, we'll get back, we're checking. There's so many people in the middle that
Yeah.
it's just hard to track exactly what is happening with the package.
And
So
ironically, all these delivery companies have made billion-dollar companies, right? Have made
yeah,
such big businesses just being in the shadow without taking any ownership and responsibility,
exactly,
right?
yeah.
Last week we had two people who came and they're building a perfume brand. It's called Fifth Sense. So they mentioned they had exact same problem that you shared, because they also sell glass bottles,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Perfume,
yeah.
fragrance is all glass bottle. And they sent a package to their investor in Gurgaon and it reached broken. So just imagine someone who's
Yeah,
investing
yeah,
receives
yeah.
a broken bottle.
Yeah, that happens. Even gift boxes, sometimes people find broken jars inside that. What do you do? Like, obviously the experience is spoiled for the customer, and they don't really think ki logistics mein problem hai. They just blame the brand. Okay, what is the shitty service, and like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, as you continue to scale, I'm sure you are growing 2x, 3x. What is the x? Year on year?
Currently this year 2x. Yeah,
2x?
yeah, yeah.
That's still big. Now, how do you ensure that next year again, let's say you grow 2x or 3x, what is your formula to ensure consistency in quality? Because that's the biggest challenge, right? How do you ensure that?
I think, yeah, I mean, luckily we've been able to build our processes in a way, and, have a strong team that makes sure that every batch is consistent. And because
But in that chain, everybody has to be as passionate as you are, right?
correct, yeah.
How do you bring that passion out?
Well, luckily, I do have a lot of people who are very passionate.
Equally passionate?
Yeah, yeah, because they have been with me for like so I have women who are doing the production actually, and who are now supervisors. They've been with me for 10 years, and they have been seeing the same thing being made for over the 10 years, and they know exactly kaise karna hai, all of that. That is there, of course, and we also put into place processes. So we have finished parameters that we measure. There are certain equipments, which we can do some testing with, and we do that. And so there's a sensory testing, and at the same time there's some parameters like your pH level, your bricks level, etc., which we test, so which makes sure that the finished product is like the same and consistent. Of course, it's not identical every time. 19-20 का फर्क होता है, but that's the beauty of an artisanal product, right? Because there is some variance with seasonality, etc. So, but we've been able to consistently give the same taste and quality over the years. And yeah, I think as we scale, the focus is definitely on making sure that we improve our systems and make sure that we have ways of controlling the finished parameters.
And in terms of pricing, India is a very price sensitive market. Where do you sit? Are you in the premium segment, mid segment, luxury segment? What
So
segment are you
we
in?
are premium, I would say, but we are not luxury. So we are not a mass brand. We are not a luxury brand which is unaffordable or only affordable by a select few. We are like a mass premium kind of brand, I would say now. So we sit above the commercial Indian brands, and we sit below imported brands mostly. And the idea is to not be a Maruti but not be a Ferrari either. To kind of be in between.
So give me a sense of pricing of your, let's say, the most popular product.
So most of our products,
vis-a-vis other competitor.
So most of our products are priced around 300, 329, that price point. And so an imported would probably be like 400 plus, or 400 to 500. A mass Indian brand would probably be like 150 to 200 maybe.
Okay, so almost double.
Yeah, yeah, so almost double. And other Indian brands which are kind of in our space, which are newer and which are the D2C brand, they'll probably be slightly above or lower.
One more question that I have is in terms of offline retail, which you said is still about 30%, right?
Lesser, but yeah.
Yeah, but you can't deny the impact that it has, right?
Of course, yeah.
How do you ensure that your product shines on the shelf? What is the formula that you have?
See, I think one is your packaging, and initial days it really helped us because we had a jar which was transparent, one. Second, we had the flavor big bold, that was our packaging. So I think वो दूर से दिखता था कि okay, this is the flavor. And I think being transparent, people could see what's inside it. So in fact, initially people used to think that it's an imported brand. Nobody really believed that it's an Indian brand. So I think that worked in our favor. So I think your packaging has to really stand out from amongst all of the other, because I think we had a very unique packaging in the FMCG kind of space, because most of the brands, the packaging is very cluttered, very colorful, etc. So we kind of kept a very minimal and modern packaging, which really helped us stand out. So that is, I think, one of the most important things, because before people try it, they have to spot it with their eyes.
And what kind of activities, marketing activities you do so that people get to experience, those who don't know about you get to experience your product?
I think initially, of course, we did a lot of sampling, so events and in-store sampling, etc. And now there is education through Instagram and socials. That's the biggest way. And of course, now discovery is happening on quick commerce as well.
Great. Now, if somebody wants to build a food brand today, where do you think the opportunities exist? The market looks crowded. Actually, it's always been crowded. It's just that brands like yourself carved a niche for themselves because they brought something truly different and new, which the big guys, the legacy brands, could not even think of, right? And they did not had the agility or interest, because the size initially would be pretty small, and they are not interested in anything which doesn't have scale, right? So, if somebody is watching you and probably is in the same journey, at home, loved something, now trying to create, do you think there's still opportunity?
There is still opportunity, definitely depends on the category. Like, I think the next big opportunity is in functional foods, because there is so much growing awareness on health and fitness.
Okay.
And I think functional foods, which are not just for taste but also for helping you in some part of your life, that's the next big opportunity. There's already a lot of players doing that, but I think there's still more options there. And I think fermented foods is going to be gut health, basically. Anything for gut health is going to be the next big thing. Like, I think just the way protein is having its moment right now, probably like 3 to 5 years down the line, gut health foods are going to have that moment, because that's going to become very important in the future. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there, because we don't have too many options for too many brands which are focused on gut health at the moment. Everybody's focusing on protein. Like the Good Bug, yes.
The Good Bug is doing very well.
Yeah. So but that's why there are only a couple of brands doing gut-friendly foods, right? So everybody is doing protein at the moment, but I think the next big wave is going to be in gut health.
Gut health?
Yeah.
Interesting. So that's where you think there's an opportunity where people can, do that. Now, if you were to look at your younger self, and if you were to give yourself suggestions, if you magically got an opportunity to rebuild this brand again from scratch, what would you tell your younger self?
I think one is to focus on numbers from the beginning, and set into place systems and processes from day one, because what happens is when you are scaling, there's a lot of excitement, and you're trying to, people love your products, and you're just looking at selling, basically, right? So, but I think ultimately data and numbers and having processes that help you evaluate your business, that's very important. So otherwise, it just kind of crumbles, and you're just left in an overwhelming kind of situation where you have to manage a lot of things. So I feel that focusing on systems, processes, and not being in a rush, like I would tell myself to not be in a rush to be everywhere very quickly, focus on one area, even geographically, or in terms of channel, learnings from that, figure out what's right, what's wrong, and also right way to do the next step, and then grow slowly, not like everything on day one.
I think if you try and do a root cause analysis, one of the reasons that I feel is initial, probably first year or 2 years, the entrepreneur is always wondering कि चलेगा कि नहीं चलेगा. Right? And because you're not looking at your business from a standpoint of safety, but always from the standpoint of fear, you tend to take wrong decisions, right? And you're somehow trying to make it survive. It's like you have to make it survive somehow, and then we'll see everything later. Whereas probably, the other way around is a better way, that you prepare everything well in advance. And then you go, because eventually if things are well designed in the beginning, then the chances of it surviving and thriving is much higher, right? That's what you're saying. So you've traveled a lot, you're a well-traveled lady. Which countries changed your understanding of food?
Italy.
Italy?
Absolutely. I think the food
Not France?
Not France, because I'm a vegetarian.
Okay.
So I think for me, France had lesser to offer.
Achha.
But Italy is great for a vegetarian, And I think that really changed my perspective, because their food is very simple, and the produce really shines. The flavor really, it's like you can take 3 ingredients, just basil, mozzarella, tomato, and you can make like amazing things with it. Like, and I think they really focus on the produce and the flavors shine through without overcomplicating, without too much, without doing too much. Basically, keeping it very simple.
Yeah.
And of course, like I think they have all kinds of, like, from the cheese to the wine to the gelato to all of that. They have amazing food, and not just pizza, pasta, but much more beyond that as well.
Absolutely. Let's do a little bit of quick thing here. We call it rapid fire, and I'll ask you a quick question. You have to answer me quickly. One food item you can never get bored of.
I think avocados.
Avocado? Just raw avocado?
I just love them. I can have them in all kind of ways. Yeah.
Great. One country every food lover must visit.
Italy, and for me.
One gourmet ingredient Indians still underappreciate, don't understand.
Garlic.
Garlic?
Yeah.
Garlic we overuse, don't we?
We use it a lot, but hum karte kya hai? We just put a tadka of, garlic,
yeah.
onion, garlic everywhere, right? But I think this garlic is so versatile. There's so much, you can do with it in terms of, and let the flavor shine. So there's roasted garlic, confit garlic, black garlic. There's so much that you can do, but I think we only use it in that one way of, chop and ginger, garlic, onion together.
Yeah, actually I've never heard garlic being used elsewhere.
Yeah.
For anything else, yeah. One business lesson that took a lot of time for you to learn.
Cash is king.
Cash is king. One thing you wish more consumers understood about packaged food?
That packaged food can also go bad.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. If it's real food, then it can go bad, yeah.
Which is okay, right? It's real, it's breathing, no?
Yeah, but that's what people don't understand, because they're like, okay, isme fungus lag gaya. You leave it outside, it will, catch fungus, right? Like.
True. If not an entrepreneur, what would Apeksha Jain be today?
Language teacher.
Oh, French teacher.
French or Italian.
Yeah, but French is going out of syllabus, you know that, right?
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Our government has decided that Sanskrit in, French out.
Okay.
Yeah. My wife is a French teacher.
Okay.
Yeah. Your favorite book?
My favorite book, I have lots of favorites, but if I had to...
Absolute favorite?
Absolute favorite, so I would say 2 books. One is Tuesdays with Maury, which is a more life lesson kind of book, because that I think tells you a lot about life and more about personal relationships, etc. And the other would be, from a business perspective, would be The Compound Effect. Actually, that's for life as well, I would say, because that really I think we underestimate the power of doing small things consistently over time and adding up to a larger outcome, So whether it's personal life, whether it's health, fitness, whatever, money, everything, business, I think just doing this right things over and over and over and over again, consistently over a long period of time, and you will succeed, you will see the results. Yeah.
One quote that you always remember?
Winners never quit, quitters never win.
Someone who just shines?
I think Indra Nooyi for me has been like a good inspiration, because I think she has defied all odds and managing everything along with being like rising to the top in a country like the US and all. I think that's quite commendable.
Excellent. Now, a piece of advice that you would give to people who want to start something of their own?
I think just believe in yourself, because there'll be doubters. People will doubt you, question you, put you down again and again. But if you believe in yourself, then that's the only way you'll keep on going.
That was very interesting, Apeksha. Thank you so much for coming over.
Thank
it was
you.
such a lovely conversation and so much to
Pleasure to
learn
be
from
here.
you. I
Thank
wish you
you.
great luck, and I wish your company, the Gourmet Jar, absolute stupendous success in times to come.
Thank you so
Hope
much.
to see you again, and we'll meet again.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank you.